Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records, and unfortunately, we're talking about the passing of another rock legend, Gary Wright. Gary Wright's most famous for his seminal 1975 hit "Dreamweaver." "Our Love Is Alive" was another hit off that same album. Album goes multi-platinum. Famous for an innovator on keyboards. He was an American composer and keyboard innovator. Really kind of popularized the use of the synthesizer in the early mid '70s. He played on lots of records of other folks. We're going to talk a little bit about him. Gary Malcolm Wright was born in April 26th of 1943 in Cresskill, New Jersey. He was a childhood actor. He was on Broadway early. He was in a musical called Fanny, playing the son with Florence Henderson in the mid '50s. Florence Henderson and Gary would perform on the Ed Sullivan Show in the '50s, and he then goes on and goes to school and studies medicine, studies psychology in New York and in Berlin. It's in England where he meets Island Records' Chris Blackwell, at which point he moves to London. And a lot of the work he did was in London in the late '60s and '70s, and he formed Spooky Tooth, which is a band that features Greg Ridley on bass, and he was a primary songwriter. He, on their second album, wrote the song "Better by You, Better by Me," which Judas Priest in 1978 also covered and put on their album Hellbent for Leather or Killing Machine, depending on what continent you bought the record on. One of my favorite songs by Priest. Notable other folks he played with B.B. King, recorded with him, Ringo Starr, Ronnie Spector, Jerry Lee Lewis. He played lots of keyboards on George Harrison's All Things Must Pass album from 1970-71. At which point after Spooky Tooth breaks up, he moves back to New Jersey, and in 1975, after a couple solo albums that weren't quite as successful, comes out with the Dreamweaver album, and again that album ends up selling a couple million copies, and really kind of that dreamy, moogie, synthy thing within that song really kind of just changes the game. He was influenced by Stevie Wonder's use of heavy keyboards, and that's kind of pushed him down that road. He's one of the first guys to play the portable keyboard, the keytar, and be on stage, kind of making that famous, along with people like Edgar Winter. But I believe Gary Wright was the first one to do that. The 1992 movie Wayne's World brought Dreamweaver back into the mainstream and really just made it kind of more iconic than it ever was. This was FM radio staple when I was growing up. Same thing with Love Is Alive. It's got that breakdown in it, and it's very just different. It's very atmospheric. Unfortunately, he died in Palos Verdes State, California, yesterday at the age of 80. Again, played on lots of records for lots of people and wrote songs. When you write a song like Dreamweaver that goes around the world, it's always worth noting. Check out my channel. Rest in peace, Gary, and we'll see you later. Peace out.